What's up, guys? It's your girl Jamia Zarzuela, the political poet, and welcome to Poetry, Prose, and Politics. Often, I say that my favorite era was the Harlem Renaissance. And with the advancement of technology and the growth of social media, I feel like we're in a digital renaissance of sorts. However, with 2020 bringing a pandemic, a crazy election, alongside murder of Black people being broadcasted from someone's camera phone to the TVs in our homes, social media, which once seemed like a place to escape from the world, is now something I often try to avoid. That's why I brought on recording artist, TikTok entertainer, and San Antonio native, Simply Rain, to discuss how this Afrotina spreads love and positivity, as well as build a sense of community with her 1 million fans, despite this quarantine. So without further ado, here's episode 4 of the Anxiety series, Social Media Distancing. So it's very nice having you today. Essentially, we're going to be talking about, or at least for this episode, I want to talk about social media and kind of how, um, I'm pretty sure you remember pre-social media, or like, well, not pre-social media, but social media prior to it becoming, this very big thing. Versus now that it is that I feel like we literally get our news here. And I always say that social media was a place for escape for me from the world. And now it's like I want to escape social media and try to return back to the world, especially with everything that it is that we're seeing, everything that is going on. And often I say that my favorite era was the Harlem Renaissance. And I feel like that's probably because of how creative, how I don't know, flourishing the Black community. I love that you call yourself Afrotina. Is that correct?
Yes.
Afrotina. And I feel like being a part of like that whole that the culture during that time, we were able to really thrive in poetry and art, et cetera, et cetera. Um, so, with that being said, I feel like this Harlem Renaissance or the Harlem Renaissance kind of pushed way into what I call the digital renaissance. Do you feel like we're living in a digital renaissance where people are able to, I guess, so freely express themselves the way that back then the Harlem Renaissance people such as Maya Angelou or um, a plethora, a number of other people, do you feel like we're in that same realm?
For sure. I think that we are in a digital renaissance time. I'm 21, so I was born in 1998, and I guess that was still considered like a digital era, basically. And even from just like me growing up as a kid in the early 2000s up until now, the at the okay, just the technology has advanced like crazy. And so, the younger generation growing up on the technology and how social media is just so normal for them,
Right.
it's definitely it is the digital age. And
Yeah. I feel like with it being, so easy for artists to come out with music, streaming music is a lot easier than I think it was prior, like way before, maybe even 5 years ago. Trying to get your music out there was you pretty much had SoundCloud. Um, and with that, it leaves a lot of great things because a photographer can, rather than having their website, they can show it on Instagram. But I also feel like there's some negative parts about social media, or in the fact that we're in this digital renaissance. What have been some positive and negatives that you've run into?
Yeah, so a lot of some of the negative things about technology that I've noticed is that we rely on it so much. At least I can. You know what I mean? It's here and everything is available at your fingertips. And if I need information, I can get it within seconds.
Mhm.
And I feel like it easily dumb people down in a way.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you can relate, but whenever my phone's at 1% and it's about to die, I'm freaking out. I'm like, where's the plug? I need a plug.
First
Because
world
everything
problems, I tell you, but it's
yes,
a real struggle.
is because everything is on your phone. And it's like your phone dies, it's okay,
Mhm.
well, what now? So
Yeah.
that is definitely a con. We're
Yeah.
spoiled in that sense, you know?
Yeah. I also think that too, um, like I was mentioning with the whole streaming being so easily available,
Yeah.
it leaves, I guess, really not everybody should be a rapper. Let's just say it like that. Like it leaves music in this weird place. And
I
not just that, but like photography, everything. My grandma thinks that she's a photographer, and
I think the thing about the digital age is everyone can do it, and anyone, if they work hard enough, they can grow a following, or if they have one goofy video that pops off, boom, a following. So it does open doors to a lot more people to who are talented and some who think they can pull it off, but um that's just all about this digital age, and anyone can hop on if they want, you know.
yeah, most definitely. And with you, with this digital age, you have your new single out, you have Say Less, and it's really great to see the engagement that you're able to gain with Say Less. The fact that like TikTok allows you to like share and feel like you have like this sense of community with artists now,
Yeah.
because they can participate in the challenges, as
Mhm.
well as the fact that, I mean, like I said, with us being in this digital renaissance, your streaming is a little bit more easier so that you can reach a person that probably doesn't have the privilege of paying, $9 a month on for Apple Music or whatever it is. How has it helped
For
you
sure.
how has it helped you with, streaming or, connecting with your audience?
Yeah, well, social media in general has helped to self market myself. Like everything is straight off of my phone, and
Hmm.
um, you know, thanks to social media, I'm able to connect with a lot of different creators who are also popular and growing a platform. And I just think that I've been blessed to grow a very large platform on TikTok, and thankfully those followers have been able to bleed over into my Instagram and my
Hmm.
YouTube, and they love the music and they want more. So I definitely took advantage of growing my social media platform because I knew that I would be able to reach, like I'd be able to expand my audience. Just
Hmm.
not just from in the United States, but it's all over, you know what I mean? And
That's awesome.
off of an app, you know?
Yeah.
So this is all literally everything's on your phone on a little app. Why not go
Mhm.
for it? And no type of distribution. It's just push it out, all self market. And so I'm thankful for that, you know?
Have you uh have you found that with using, your phone, that, or with not using your phone, but with using social media, that you have to kind of shy away from certain things or get off and unplug sometimes? Because I mean, I can imagine. Are you at 1 million followers on
I'm
TikTok?
over 1 mil, 1.3. So yes, we're
Do
working up to.
you? I can only imagine that, people are mean. So do you have to? How do you navigate through that, with people may not liking whatever your music or your look
Yeah,
or your style? How, when you get those bad comments, like how do you stay centered and
sure.
stay true to you?
You know, I've had to learn that people are gonna have their opinions, and
Hmm.
they don't know me. And
Hmm.
if I put it out there, I'm basically letting people think what they want to think. But thankfully, I haven't had too many haters
I
yet.
can imagine, because you're such a sweet person.
Thank you. I mean, I'm sure it'll come. I've had a few comments that are like, I tend, if it's on my page, if I really don't like the comment, I'll just delete it.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time, I just ignore it. I'll speak to my mom or my dad about it, and they're like, they still gave you a view, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So,
Yeah.
but a lot of things, like whenever I really get frustrated or just overwhelmed with social media in general, I do like to take a break because I find that it's very important to unplug, especially with I get a lot of support and love and a lot of different requests for videos. And
Mm-hmm.
although I really appreciate it, it can become overwhelming, you know, because
Yeah.
you're constantly having to create new ideas. I need to grow, 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 grow. And it's important that I take a minute and stay off of social media for at least 2 days or however long I need.
Yeah. How do you feel like you get that sense of normalcy still? Because like I would consider you famous. Like if I was to see you, like
Really?
I would consider you famous because I've actually seen you perform. Actually, I think maybe 2 times.
Really?
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think I've seen you perform 2 times. So I mean, I would think, I don't know. So how do you gain this sense of like normalcy and like being grounded? Because I think that the audience, or your audience who doesn't know you personally, doesn't
Yeah.
know how down to earth you really are. You're really
Thank
a
you.
chill person.
Thank you. It's still kind of, I don't look at myself famous. I will consider myself an influencer who has
Hmm.
a following that I can influence.
Hmm.
Uh, but I read people that are like, oh, she's famous. I'm like, Beyonce's famous, guys. I'm still working to get to that level. But what helps is that, all of these people are from all over. So it's not like they're all in my hometown. And whenever I go out to the grocery store, they're like taking pictures. And I ain't got none of that yet. I can still walk
Yeah,
around. Some people don't notice me. It's like, okay, cool. So that's how I know. And plus, I always like to remain humble. My
yeah.
sister, my parents, my friends, they will be the first one to be like, bring it back down, girlfriend. So I just think until I got a Grammy sitting in my bedroom, I don't know about that. Or if I got a number one, I'm still aspiring to be greater than what I am now.
You haven't been number one, but you're on the charts, and I
Oh,
think that that's so like, but you're on the charts. So I love the fact that you're a humble person.
thank
But
you.
let's like, how about you be humble and I not be humble for you? Like you're
Okay.
famous.
Okay.
You're
Oh
low
my
key
God.
famous. Like it is what
Okay.
it is.
I
Like
got
nobody,
some clout.
no, nobody's quite Beyonce, but that's because only Beyonce can be Beyonce.
Period.
You're simply Rain. There's the
Yeah.
difference.
You're right. You're right. So, God has a different path for everyone. And I just see it as I'm growing on my own time. And
Yeah.
when it's supposed to happen, it's going to happen. So I'm just thankful for all of the success I've had so far. And I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep hitting these milestones.
That's amazing. And speaking of like unplugging, like you were saying before, with seeing what's been going on with Black Lives Matter, what's been going on with COVID,
Mhm.
the fact that we have this election and the other things that are going on,
Yeah.
how do you how do you maintain your bubbliness? Like I said, you're a chill person, but I've always seen you smile. So,
Oh,
like, how do you maintain that? Because at the end of the day, you're still a human being, and
mhm.
so Simply Rain is, in a sense, a performer.
Yeah,
But how does Rain like actually?
sure.
How does she deal with what's going on with everything in the world?
In private. Okay. So basically, 2020 has been a challenging year from the jump start. Like literally, we get in 2020 and it starts. It starts right
Yeah,
away.
with Kobe, rest in peace.
I know that was heartbreaking. And so it's just, I think for myself, the Black Lives Matter movement, that really, really was heavy on my heart. And
Hmm.
it kept me awake at night because, everywhere you looked, you'd see it on your newsfeed every day and
Yeah.
something new. So it was really heavy on my heart. And I found peace talking to my parents about these
Mm-hmm.
situations. I think what I needed to do was kind of educate myself more and, um, just really understand what Black Lives Matter is. I've always been Black Lives Matter, but I just think really understanding what it is and what we are, um, working towards and why cops are doing this. Because a lot of people like to say racism is gone, it's gone. No,
Mm-hmm.
it's disguised. They like to think that it's still here. And so, thankfully, because of social media, are being able to be pushed to light a little more. And for myself, I just really had to sit with my parents and talk about it. And I understood everything that was going on. And then with COVID, that was difficult for me because that was supposed to be like 1 month and it turns into almost 7 months now.
Yeah.
But because of that, I've been more health conscious than I've ever been before with
Yeah.
making sure I keep my distance, that's going to be something that is a habit from now on. And
Yeah.
so I just need to think with every difficulty, there is an opportunity to make things better.
Right.
So, of course, I promote and promote and promote. Vote, 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 vote. Get ready to vote this year, you guys. So I that's what 2020 is. It's like that realization year for everybody and we
Yeah.
needed it. It's been
Yeah.
hard, but we needed it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And then not only the fact that you're, of Afro descent, you're a Black person, but you're also, are you Mexican? Is your mom Mexican American
Yes,
as well?
yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
with the things that have been going on at our border with the children that are still, in those, to be honest, I call them concentration camps. With my husband being Dominican, he immigrated here 5 years ago. I can only think of his family.
Wow.
I'm not Mexican, I'm not Dominican the way that he is, but I can only think of how, there's a lot of Haitians there.
Yes.
So with being a Black person and seeing my husband who's an immigrant, also him being Black and still dealing with a whole nother aspect of America, it's just really opened my eyes in that way as well. And that's with,
Of
like
course,
you said, everything is coming at you at one time.
there's issues everywhere. It's not just the Black race, like
Mm.
Hispanics, they're dealing with that as well. And it
Mm-hmm.
just goes to show that we need to do better and a change needs to come everywhere around, all around. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, especially with this election year, like we need to change. We want to change, and I
Yeah.
think that we as in the middle of being a millennial and Gen Z, so I think
Okay.
that
Okay.
because I was born in '95, so I feel
Yeah.
like being in this middle, I'm so proud of how vocal Gen Z has been.
Yes.
They're a really resourceful lot of people. Like
Oh,
people may say that we're spoiled and we're always on our phone, but we get all of our
honey,
information that we
we're
need, and
working, baby. We're working.
yeah, we're
Yes.
out there. So
Yes. Sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say I'm really proud of us.
Yeah. Without a doubt, you know, that's a pro about having social media. They don't play with that. They are on top of it and they will
Hmm.
spread the word. They will buy out tickets to Trump rallies and fool him. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
Gen Z, even though a lot of them aren't old enough to vote, I don't think, it's
yeah.
just like they still working like we're gonna do something to help
Hmm.
move it forward still.
Exactly. And with this being called the anxiety series, I call it that because I have anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to be able to have a conversation with people that are either my friends or are really out there doing something, and how they have been able to cope with these times for the lay people, us everyday folks that don't have the privilege to go to a therapy session. Like I have the privilege to do that.
Oh.
Not everybody can pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
How in with you being, you want to be modest, so I'm not going to say a superstar, but with you being somebody that often has, needing to perform, and how do you prepare yourself in your most anxious times, be it like when you're about to go on stage, like
Okay.
where do you find your center in those, trying times for yourself?
Yeah, so okay, when it comes to my performance, I'm a Virgo, so I'm very structured and I'm like everything needs to be perfect or else throw it away, baby.
So you're more like Beyonce than we think. Okay.
I like my birthday's September 10th, so it's coming up. But my thing is before I hit the stage, I prepare and prepare everything you see from dance moves to how I'm speaking and interacting with the audience.
Hmm.
That's scripted. I have that down weeks in advance. And so before I hit the stage, I noticed that I really go to myself and I'm just off in the corner and people are like,
Hmm.
where's Brian? Where's Brian? Don't talk to me. Like I'm getting in my concentration Zen mode. Like I'm thinking about exactly what I'm gonna do when I hit the stage, exactly how I'm gonna exit the stage, everything in my head I am walking through. And so that is how I prep for a performance. And obviously I'm a little anxious before I hit the stage, but I think it's like good nerves just because my adrenaline is ready to go. And
Yeah.
just on a day to day or my regular life when I'm chilling at home, I do like to take time to meditate and manifest. I'll just go to my backyard, put a yoga mat on the ground and look up
Hmm.
at the sky and just think of positive affirmations. I think that really centers all the noise in here and
Yeah.
shuts out the outside.
Yes, exactly. And speaking of that, like one of my favorite practices that I do is affirmation statements. I'm not sure if you know of them, but they're I am statements, and I write them I'm looking at my mirror now, but I write them on my mirror if I'm having like a bad day. So for instance, if I feel like, oh, I've been procrastinating a lot, I'll
Yeah.
write, I am progressive, I am
Mhm.
a preparer, I am whatever words are the opposite of
That-
not doing
Yeah.
what it is that I need to do, or so that I can really tap into that essence.
Sure.
So I
Yeah.
definitely feel that.
Yeah, my thing, I haven't done that, but I do listen to different guided affirmation, like meditation things on YouTube. So I will speak it out loud, and then I do have my goals written down on my board. So I need to try actually writing down affirmations to say because I think that'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, this is the thing. Confucius is quoted saying that the man that says that he is and the man that says that he isn't, the thing is that they're both right. So kind of it's this
Wow.
mindset that like I'm going to fail this test. Well, of course you're going to fail the test because you never
You
passed.
got it.
I mean that because you never practiced it, you never studied the material. Um and then the person that says, I am going to pass this test,
Uh, yeah.
they put everything together for themselves to make sure that
Exactly.
it manifested in their life, it actually formed into their life.
Yes, and it's crazy because I know it works because I have a story. It's pretty funny. Before I ever hit a mill, I was like at 50K on TikTok.
Hmm.
And you're trying to work it, and sometimes it can get really draining. So I was talking to my mom and I was like, Mom, like my views, I don't really like them. Like I put so much effort into my vids, they don't get the hits
Hmm.
they deserve. And my mom doesn't feed into all that. She's like, then do something about it. I'm like, but mom, like I don't like should I
She
get
sounds
up?
like my mom.
She's like, don't cry about it, like make your videos better. And I'm like,
Hmm.
okay then. So the next day, I'm not even playing with you. The next day I go outside, I take time for myself, I meditate, and I'm like, I'm going to reach a meal one day. I'm going to have a vid that pops off to help me reach that. And that's just what it's gonna do. I'm gonna work harder. I post a video the very next day, and that's what launched my following to grow, 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 grow. And I was like, this is crazy. That I
Yeah,
can do that.
it's really
It's all
like
here.
in the mind. It really is in the mind. And then I often find that like that will always be my problem when it comes to my anxiety. Obviously, fear lives in the mind, and it's
Yeah.
about how you decide to handle it, or what your perspective is on life. And I've had a very positive, even though 2020 has been a very challenging year,
Yeah.
I think one thing that has helped me was being able to stay present in this like right now moment and thinking of it as a gift, and like this moment that I'm sharing with my child is a gift, this
Oh,
moment that I'm doing my psychology homework is a gift, you know,
yes,
whatever
everything.
it, you know, and really being present. And so I've had to really let go of social media the way that, because I found it addicting. Like, I'm not sure if you've done it, but I'll pick up my phone and then
Yes.
I'll be, you know, scrolling, and then I'll, you know, scroll everything off or like close every single app. And then
Mhm.
I'll reopen
Open it again.
like my Instagram app, and I'm like, I literally just did that. So I had to, I've been having to like release those habits and try to find like other things to do. Like I learned how to cook. I know how to
Ah,
make
I need to
plantain.
learn that.
I learned how to
Uh,
make mofongo, like because my husband is
wow.
Dominican, and so like his aunt, like
Yeah,
I'm like, how do I learn how to make these little, you know, things of papareanos and all those other things. So it's like it's really
exactly.
exciting to like try to focus on something else.
Yeah.
What is something that you've been like learning or like really focusing on since
Mhm.
you've been in quarantine?
I've learned to, for myself, I've just learned that spending time with my family. I've never, okay, I've always been close with my family, but being locked in the house all day, every day, it hits a little different, you know?
Yeah.
My sister and I have gotten so much closer. We've always been close, but just like unbreakable. It's like, oh, no, no, no.
Wow. Yeah.
So I just think that I've I've taken this time to really thank and be like, wow, I'm so grateful for, you know, my parents and my sister, and being able to still be focused and really work towards building my platform, even while the world is kind of at a halt right now, just like, what's
Hmm.
next? What's next? So that's what I've learned, just taking advantage of this time. Because it's easy to just let time slip you by. And heck no, I wanted to take full advantage of this.
No, I totally get you. Wanting to take full advantage of your the time that we have,
Yeah.
especially like learning with like new skill sets. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure we're gonna see a lot of Simply Rain or a lot of like new songs coming out of this,
Oh,
huh?
yes.
Will you be making
Yes.
I have a side question that has like nothing to do
Go
with
ahead.
all of this, but like will you do you think with you being like Afrotina, will you come out with like a Spanglish song, or is there one in the mix where you have a all Spanish song? Because
That sounds like a great idea. I would love to. I'm not opposed to it. Although I do not speak Spanish,
mhm.
I can work on, you know, actually saying the words correctly. But you know, my EP is coming out, so there's no Spanish songs on that. But in the future, without a doubt, I will tap into that side because I'm promoting Afrotina. I got to tap into both sides, you know.
No, yeah, I feel you. It's just that I remember like when you made a song and you had Baby Bash on it,
Yes, yes.
and I my God, I remember it was like I feel like did that come out during the summertime?
Yeah, that was, yeah, July. Mm-hmm.
That came out during the summertime, like about 2 years ago.
2018. 2018, yep.
And we've really seen you grow as an artist and as a person and as a young lady. And I feel like with your growth, how do you think you've been able to kind of like what was that moment of a, you know, hey, I need to show my following that yeah, you see me grow up into this music, but I'm grown, like I'm 21, like technically I'm legal to drink, so see me as
Ah,
this.
right,
How what
right.
was that moment for you? Because you cursed in
I
this
know.
song, and
I
I was
know.
like, what?
No one was expecting that, you know, and it was like a that shock factor. I love it too. Like, y'all ain't seen nothing yet. Okay, well, basically, it's funny because when I went to go work with the producers who did Say Less,
Hmm.
shout out the Aristocrats, Happy and Chaz. I was in the studio and we were creating music from scratch, and I clearly I wasn't prepared to cuss. I thought it was all gonna be clean and kind of like what I've been doing, just a
Hmm.
notch up on the production and music. And so Happy, he out of nowhere, we're creating the lyrics, and he's like, all right, Rain, so you're gonna throw this word in. I was like, wait, what word? What? I don't cuss in my music, Happy. And he was like, oh, no. You got to trust me on this one, Rain. We got to sauce it up a little, girl. Like, people are going to connect with you and it's just going to show a level of maturity.
Mm-hmm.
And, my mom was down with it because she was there. So I didn't want to like seem disrespectful or nothing, but
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know what? I am 21. I can pull it off. I don't sound corny saying it. So I was like,
You
this
don't.
is the
I
moment.
loved it. I saw it like when I was, because I heard the song before I watched the music video because you know how it came out.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like I was when I was watching the music video, I was like, and here we I was just like, yes. To me, honestly, it gave me like that how the Halle and Chloe vibes, how when she
Yes.
cursed, I was just like, whoever
I
with Chloe thought to get it. Like,
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about because before Say Less came out, Chloe
mhm,
and Halle released the music, and I was kind of nervous for Say Less to come out because I was like, are
yeah.
people gonna be like, why is she cussing? But I heard them cuss,
But
and
you're
I was like, oh,
21, so like
yeah,
there's this transition that I feel like not only that you make in life, but that
yeah,
artists have to make.
yeah, for sure.
And with being a young woman, like this you're a very classy person, but there's a sense of like sensuality, like transitioning from being a young girl to the sensuality part
Hmm.
aspect. And before, like, you were very not teeny bopper, but you can't really call what you was sexy before, and that
Yeah,
was because that wasn't your realm yet. So
right.
like we're getting that little spice, that little nudge. So and
Yeah,
with hip hop culture, we find that often, either be it in Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion's WAP and different songs of that
yeah,
nature.
yeah.
How do you feel about how people perceive women that are a little bit more vocal
Yeah.
in that realm?
Well, I know that some people have issues with it, and they're okay when the men say it, but when the females say it, it's like, uh-uh. But we are in a male dominated society, and I think that what these females are doing, because we have a lot of talented female rappers, right? And they choose to express themselves that way, and there's nothing wrong with it,
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're kind of they're rattling it up a little bit because people are gonna
Mm-hmm.
have to just get used to it. If you're not used to it, get used to it. I find no harm in people expressing themselves however they want. Some people are down with their sexuality and they can go wild. I'm a little more reserved, but if you can rock it, rock it. And if it's just not your cup of tea, then baby, don't click on the video.
Yeah. And I think that one thing that I feel is misunderstood is that a woman that doesn't choose to go that route, like
Hmm.
they won't be as valuable in the music industry, because there are great artists such as Yuna and you
Oh,
know maybe even I would even say Kelly Rowland, because she's a very classy woman,
yeah.
Sade, that
Oh,
don't that show their sensuality in another way.
mhm.
Sabrina Claudio, they just because one woman decides to go one way or one route and it gets her a lot of views, doesn't mean that she's any less valuable than the other woman that decides to go another route. And
Yeah,
that woman that went that route, it doesn't mean that just because she didn't decide to do that, doesn't mean that she won't get the amount of following,
yeah.
because
No.
she's not wanting to expose that much. So I love the fact that you're experimenting right now. You're
Oh, yeah.
21 and
Oh, yeah.
you're deciding to take that risk and be a little bit more spicy.
I'm excited about it too. It's just gonna show another side of me that I guess some people either knew I had, or some people were like, "Oh, I didn't know she could rock like that." But yeah, I've always been a little sassy. I'm ready to release it.
I feel you. Yeah, most definitely. There's like I hate to compare you to Beyonce just because you're in Texas and
Yeah,
as a singer, because like like Beyonce and you're just because y'all are Virgos doesn't mean that like you're
the same
exactly the
person. Yeah,
same. But I do, get I do get that sense from you. Like you probably like you I'm not sure if you have your alter ego, but maybe like a Sasha Fierce, like when you get on stage you're like, I'm this completely different person. I'm
Yes,
this I mean,
yes. Simply Rain is my stage name, so that is the alter ego.
yeah.
It's funny because my birth name is Rihanna. So
Really?
yeah, yeah. I was obsessed with Rihanna when I was a kid, and then I really fell in love with Beyonce when I was preteen, and I love them both now, obviously. But
Mhm.
yeah, Simply Rain is definitely that's the brand, and that's the little what do you call it? Uh,
Your alter ego type
alter
of
ego.
like,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
now that you're an adult, what was something that like what is something that you see with fresh eyes as an adult? Like for instance, with me, I had a ridiculous with me like re-listening to old music that I once was, listening to as a kid. I
Yeah.
didn't realize that, they were saying these things, or I didn't see all the little jokes
Oh,
that was in a movie and stuff like that. What is
mhm.
something that has changed that as you've grown older, your perspective has changed, either be it in the industry or just in life in general?
Yeah. So my perspective on I've the support I've gained from my following, um, it's huge. So I have learned as I've gotten older, I've just learned how to appreciate things more. I've always been appreciative of my supportive parents, but how I understood it hits different now than when I was 13 years old, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They're investing their time, their money, everything is being invested into making sure Simply Rain is set and we're gonna make this an actual like this is business, you know? So I'm just very thankful for the parents that I have, and that is something that I've learned to realize. And just um also with being on this journey, I have been um I have been exposed to a lot of different things, and I just know that the more I grow, I'm going to be exposed to more different things at different levels at different times. And so, how I've handled something in the past versus how I would handle it now, are completely different. And it's
Right.
all because of growth and my mindset now and maturity.
Yeah, I mean, my sister, I remember when I was younger, like I was in youth and government. And
Mm,
I grew up being honest, my dad was in jail, and he was in jail for probably half of, my age now, or half of my life. And
wow.
so I understood that I came from that reality, or I came from this experience, or I had that experience in life, but I never let it define me as I grew. And I remember being in school, like not the only black kid, but like one of the few black kids in the class, or in college. And I always felt like, because I was the minority, the person that came from, this
Yeah.
reality, I had to always advocate that, I had dreadlocks. My dreadlocks doesn't mean that I listen to Lil Wayne,
Yeah.
or that I listen to Waka Flocka, even though I did. I
Uh-huh.
love them both,
Right,
but
right, right.
it doesn't
Don't
mean that
stereotype me.
I like I'm this way. Like, don't see, me as a black person this way. And I
Yeah.
think one thing that has changed now that I'm almost 25. I'll be 25 in September, so my
Wow.
birthday's a little further down. I'm not Virgo. I
You're a
missed it by a
Libra?
day. Yeah, I missed it by
Wow, you're
one
like my
day.
mom. My mom's that. Awesome.
Yeah, so I've learned, I don't always have to be a person's advocate, like,
Mm-mm.
a black advocate, or I don't have to be a part of trying to not advocate, but trying to explain that we're not all like that. I just
Yeah.
simply be me, and
Yeah.
people are going to take me for myself, and
Wow.
take me as I am. So that
Yeah.
was with,
That. Wow. Yeah.
with that. What do you think that, as an artist, that people, or your fans, don't really understand about you, just as a human being, or as an artist, whatever, in whatever space?
Sure. I just when it comes to my fans, I know that I've luckily luckily I've been blessed with such supportive fans who do care about my well-being and what I think and how I feel. I just think it's people who I don't know if it's, I guess it's the haters, but it's just some people who don't really understand when, okay, let me back it up. When I was younger, I would be so vocal on people's body of work or their song, you know what I mean? And so as I've grown and created more music and, I have learned to don't don't come at someone's work, because you wouldn't want someone doing that about you. You have your preference, but if you don't like it, there's no need to be completely disrespectful about it. And so I think that what some people don't understand is, you know, when I post the video, say like few thumbs down, and obviously that's gonna happen, but it's like what I've learned is if you don't like it, then keep it moving. Unless it's just completely just out of this world, like what is that? Inappropriate, you know what I mean? And so that's what I think some people don't understand is it's not, yes, this is just a video to you, but there's work that's been put into all of this, from the recording to the choreography to the wardrobe. Everything was work. And so just that's not good. It's just like, wow, you don't really understand the bigger picture of it all.
Yeah. So you're a very hard worker that I imagine that when it comes to even say less, this, you're probably 1,000% in everything. You're like, no, let's put on these shoes.
Ah,
I like my hair like this, but you're also like, I didn't like the way that not, you probably say it a lot nicer, but I think that this scene should go before this scene because I prefer that scene. I imagine you as like, you're in everybody's like realm of what, because it's your video it's your project that you're going to be putting out. And
yeah,
since it's your face, you're part of you want to make sure that you have control on every round.
course. I am very hands-on with everything I do. And look, I've been so thankful to work with the team that I got a chance to work with on Say Less. Luther Brown, I don't know if you've heard of him, but he is an amazing choreographer and creative director. He's an OG in the industry.
Oh,
And
wow.
I got to work with him. He's worked with J-Lo, Nicki Minaj, Janet Jackson. So that's who he's working with, and
Yeah.
now Simply Rain. And so also the lady who styled me, her name is Othezi, another OG. She worked with Rihanna, Sierra. So I'm worked with a team of professionals. And I know when to take the back seat and learn, but they do give me a chance and say, Rain, what do you think about this? And if I see an issue anywhere, hey, let's switch this up. Okay, cool. But I'm all about taking the back seat when it's time and learning, because I am still on this journey and growing.
Yeah. And as an artist, we see a lot of artists coming forward when it comes to a number of things and using their platform for advocating for voting, for even protecting, Meg the Stallion, in what happened with her.
Yeah.
Do you feel like an artist needs to, and if they don't necessarily need to, or if they do need to, what about the artist that probably quite isn't all the way informed? Like how would you say that they can still go about, provide for their platform, advocating for a bigger picture?
Yeah. So I think that this is how I think. If God gave you a platform and it's big and you clearly influence people, I think you should use it for more than just promoting yourself. There are people that look up to you, and I think, you kind of take on that role, whether you recognize it or not, that you're gonna have to be some type of leader. What leader to tell people, don't vote. I don't like that. You're still influencing people not to vote, or whether you are the person that is saying, go vote, make a change. That is what you're standing for. So um, I'm all about making sure that you are informing people on what's right, and that it's in a positive light, not anything that is, because there could be people that are promoting parties right now. and their fans are saying that, no, honey, you're supposed to be at home on lockdown, versus
Mm-hmm.
someone who is trying to inform their audience about voting and Black Lives Matter and why we're doing this. And you need to educate yourself on this, and that. So I am definitely one of those influencers who are big on using my platform
Mm-hmm.
to spread the word.
It just is that simple for you.
It's that simple. I don't understand. Well, I know some people don't get the bigger picture of it, or they're not informed, so they don't want to say anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I just couldn't be that person. I have to spread some awareness. Yeah.
And so, I mean, I'm pretty sure, with that being said, you are pro voting. So we will see you with that, I voted sticker. So that's without a
Yes, you
doubt.
will.
Why do you think that maybe our generation isn't quite as interested as we should be when we're like, I don't want to say that we're the loudest,
Yeah.
when we're definitely involved in other ways, because I can imagine, it being disheartening to do peaceful protesting, wearing a shirt that says I can't breathe,
Yeah.
kneeling, or there's just doing, well, that's more so silent protesting, but then peaceful protesting. And then, some of us, although we don't encourage it, will do something a little bit more violent, but and yet still it's like trying to create a charge for something that matters to us so much. So I
Yeah.
can understand like the reason for some of us not voting being because like we've kind of given up.
Hmm.
Do you agree like that's the reason, or what is your thoughts on us just giving up on the election completely?
I wish that we wouldn't just give up. I think that, my parents told me this because I wondered that too. We have all these people who are for Black Lives Matter, and they're
Mm-hmm.
protesting and they're helping to make a change. But when it comes to vote, it's, oh, my vote doesn't count, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
not voting. So it's pretty simple to me. They must not care enough to make it happen. Um, I just think if you really, really want to make a change, why not do something extra to make it happen? If you really, really cared, you would take that extra step and just do it. Because who are you hurting if you vote? You're not hurting anyone. Just make your vote, whether it's for this person or this person. Every vote matters, and it's just, um, I wish I do have some friends who were the same and like, I'm not voting. I think they just haven't learned like how important it is to vote.
Yeah. Uh, and hopefully with this podcast, with them listening to, with it, with every platform, essentially, um, kind of trying to guide them in that direction. We have Cardi B, like, I stated
Yeah,
before, who actually got the pleasure of interviewing Biden,
yeah,
interviewing Bernie.
yeah.
So we do see that artists are doing that. They are using their platform. So hopefully that would be, an influence. Um, what gives you hope with not just, this election year, but with COVID and with the fact that 2020 it's been a trash ass year. Like,
Yeah.
it's been a trash year. Like, what's giving you hope?
Well, what gives me hope with, first of all, the Black Lives Matter portion of it and voting is that there are so many people from different backgrounds coming together and fighting for change and what is right. So it's nice to know that it's just not Black people trying to make a change.
Mm,
It's just not the Mexicans trying to make a change. No, there's people from all different backgrounds and races coming together, and you see that in these protests. And they're not scared to call out the BS either.
mm-hmm.
So that's what gives me hope. Like, oh, it gives me chills, honestly, thinking about it, because
Yeah.
I was just like, we have come a long way, but there's so much, we need to come even further than this. And
Mm-hmm.
so knowing that, especially with this Generation Z, they're coming up, like they're not playing about it. And they're such an open generation. That's what really gives me hope. And then, of course, with COVID, I mean, I was gonna say something, but let me just keep it here. I know
I
Texas.
love that you did that. Can I say that? I love
Sure.
that you recenter yourself. I like that is a great trait to have.
Thank you.
Like I
Thank you.
that's a beautiful thing to have. So you caught yourself. I think that as an artist that will have 1,000 more interviews with, you know, bigger people, that is a great thing that you
Thank
just did. I just wanted to acknowledge you on that. You're not wrong for that. And I love it's okay to like have weird a thought, but when you bring it back and you're like, look, God, help me with my tongue.
Yeah, like let me
So
just
I applaud you for that. But
thank
continue.
you. Thank you. You know, I'm just gonna say, Texas is finally right now, as it is August 26th, it's
Mm-hmm.
not a red state anymore. So thank you, Jesus. Let's pray that we keep getting better and keep moving forward. And God is giving me hope. I pray every night. So
Yeah. And with that, with like I said, this is called the anxiety series. So one of my biggest accomplishments in life is that I have been able to not only acknowledge but do the work that it takes for me to fight past anxiety, despite the fact that this year has been trying for me.
yeah.
And to be honest, I really think that my biggest accomplishment is looking in the mirror and loving the person that I see. Like I
Wow.
hands down feel like that has been, my biggest work. And loving that person because not everybody can get to that place. What
Yeah.
do you think that your biggest accomplishment is?
Wow. So you took it there. You took it on more of a personal versus, I got this. So now that I'm thinking about it, I think when it comes to like my personal life, my biggest accomplishment so far, because I know I have so much more to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm really being able, I'm really tapping into my spirituality, and I've taken time to, you know, really just take it all in and not be scared and go for it. And so that's one thing that I never really tapped into before when I was younger. I knew I've always kind of been more spiritual and like, oh, the trees are so beautiful today. And now I just feel like God's, you know what I mean? And so
Mm-hmm.
I feel like as I've gotten older, just taking that time to um, tap in and really center myself, that is something that I have grown.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to loving myself, I've gotten a lot better at that. I'm still hoping when I'm 25 that I am a lot better at that than I am now. But when it comes to like my goals and accomplishments there, I look at them as milestones. I have accomplished a lot of milestones that I'm proud of, but I know that my biggest accomplishment, I still haven't,
You
I haven't
haven't
reached
gotten there
that yet.
yet.
But
And
I
I guess
every
yeah,
day.
I guess that's fine.
Yeah.
Not
Working
yet
back
being
to
there because you are 21. I
yeah.
remember, like, I'm about to say, I remember when I was 21, like that was so long ago. Like,
Right, right,
so
right.
true.
No. Like,
But yeah, when I was 21, I was probably in the same space. I
yeah.
didn't really know I didn't know, what it was that I achieved so far in life. And I
Yeah,
felt
yeah.
like I had done a lot.
Yes.
And I was just like, none of those are quite up there yet. Like,
Mhm.
I need to still push for more. So
Right. Because I
that's a
think,
beautiful thing.
thank you. I just think like when I say I have a huge accomplishment, I want it to be like it beats every other thing I've done, in a sense.
Speaking of the things that you've done, what is it that you're doing now? I know you just came out with a single. Well, you didn't just come out with it, but
Okay.
you were saying that you have your EP that's possibly coming up. You have your EP that's coming up. Um what is more rain that we're simply gonna be seeing soon?
Oh, simply going to be saying. So, right now, we are still focused on the Say Less campaign and
Uh-huh.
making sure that gets pushed out. But you can expect a single or two to drop before the final EP is released. Now, all the songs on the EP have been recorded. We got all of that finished before quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just getting in gear for the next video because we have those treatments ready to go, and we're just excited for the next songs and then the final EP release.
So sis is just saying that we need to just tap in is
Tap
what we need to
in.
do.
Yeah.
We need to just be a little patient, and
Yeah.
we're going to be able to get more rain.
It won't be too far out there, I promise. It's not going to be like another year,
Yeah.
so it's coming.
But that's really cool that as an artist, you're like, you know what, I already have all of this stuff. I just want to make sure that it's perfect for my audience. And that's something, I think that's just the Virgo trait. That's the
Virgo trait. We've had
the Virgo trait.
Say Less was done back in December of 2019.
Wow.
Yep. See, no one knows that.
So she knew she was gonna release a song that had cursing on it.
Yes, indeed.
She was just like, speaking, my last question, but how did you, like, when it first came out, like, you being a little bit, I'm pretty sure you were a little bit nervous, and it was a little, like, something a little vulnerable for you, I guess. How did you feel when you got your initial responses from your fans and they loving it, and like how was that feeling?
Oh my gosh, it was way crazier than I expected it would be. So I went live on TikTok for the release and for the release of the music video. And a lot of these followers from TikTok, they didn't know that I was a singer. So before the Say Less song came out, I was constantly on live prepping them, reminding them, hey guys, I do sing too. Like, I don't just act, like I have a song coming out July 3rd. So I got it drilled in their heads. And every time I would go on live, they were like, oh, July 3rd, Rain, Say Less comes out. They didn't know what it was going to be, So finally the day of release, and I've never had that many people in my life before. It was like it was like 1,000 people in the live, and then it go down to 700, and it was just everyone was there. And the countdown happened, and boom, how you always talking much, you say too much, and the comments were blowing up like, oh my God, say less. So it was so, I loved it. It was overwhelming, but it made me so happy, and I was just thankful that they all loved the song.
And I'm so thankful that you joined me on this interview today.
Thank you for having me.
I can't wait to share this with. This episode is sponsored by Coconut Casual, a Black-owned lifestyle brand focused on positively impacting our globe by promoting female empowerment. It's all love at Coconut Casual. And remember, if it's for us and by us, then support us. While you can listen to Poetry, Prose, and Politics wherever you stream your podcasts, be it Spotify, Google, or Apple Podcasts, Anchor.fm does allow you to leave me a message so that you can join in on the conversation. You can also support this podcast with small monthly donations to help sustain future episodes. You can donate as little as 99 cents a month. Just visit anchor.fm/The Political Poet. That's anchor.fm/THAPOLITICALPOET. Wow, that's a mouthful. And then click support. Lastly, don't forget to follow me. And you can find me on almost all social media platforms at Jamia Zarzuela.